Out of all the fruit, apparently, bananas are the most aerodynamic. This is Story Arcs. I'm Art. And before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate your support. So this is about the time that we almost drowned on a banana boat. So when I was in the Dominican Republic studying medicine, I took a vacation with my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and her cousin, who was in college studying tourism. And so we all get to go to these hotels and take these bus trips and these tours, things like this. And one of these times we went to this island called Samaná. It's like on the northern coast of the Dominican Republic. It's really beautiful. Like in the wintertime, you get to see whales and all sorts of cool stuff. So we all take this bus, we go up to Samaná, and then we get on these boats and they take us out to this island. And on the island, they have like those whole tourism traps where, you get on a banana boat or you can ride like those paragliders and all that kind of stuff tourists love to do at the beach. And all the girls that we were hanging out with, because it was like a bunch of girls and me, they decide they want to ride on one of these banana boats, right? But the guys that were running the boats, like the boat captains, they were crazy sketchy, right? You could just tell these dudes were sketch. And we go and we get on one of these banana boats. I don't remember what it was we paid, but we had to pay them money to get on. And it's like a long, maybe 6 to 7 foot inflatable raft in the shape of a banana, right? And so it's pulled by a motorboat, right? So we get on and the guy starts pulling us away from the shore. This is like the middle of the ocean, right? So you got this island, you're in the middle of the ocean basically, and he's pulling you along and the waves are kind of choppy. So the faster he would go, the more this banana boat would like bounce off the surface of the water. And as it continued to bounce off the surface of the water, it started to get really high. Like we were getting air time, right? So I was like, wait a minute, this is getting kind of crazy. If we flip over, everybody's going into the water at high speed. So I start to tell the guy like, yo, you want to slow down? Yo, we need to slow down, right? And old boy's like, yeah, we're good. And he continues to speed up. And so now we're hitting the waves. And first it was like maybe 1 foot. Then it started to go to 2 feet. Now we're hitting these waves and we're popping up to like 3-4 feet in the air, right? And I'm like, this is way too high. We're definitely going to end up in the water if this continues. And so I'm telling the dude like, yo, you got to slow down. We're going to crash. We're going to crash into the water. Not all these girls know how to swim. Old boy's like, yeah, it's good, And I don't know if it was like a thing where he was, intentionally trying to make us crash into the water because the tourists like this kind of thing. But I definitely was not having a good time at this point, right? Because I'm like, all right, I'm here with like 6 chicks. I'm the only dude. They got these really sketch life preservers on. You know what I mean? They look like they've been 20 years old. And I don't even know if they're going to hold up if we all end up in the water. Aside from the fact that even though I can swim good, like how many people can you save when there's 6 of y'all in the water and you're trying to save everybody, right? It's not going to happen. Long story short, sure enough, we hit this one wave and boom, we fly into the air and it all felt like it was in slow motion, right? I just see us, we're all up in the air and everything's cool. It's kind of cool flying in the air like that. And then all of a sudden the boat just turns, the banana just turns sideways completely, right? Until now we're all falling off of the banana and headed into the ocean. So we all crash into the water. So now you're in the water and you're trying to figure out which way is up. Right? Because you lose your orientation when you fall deep into the water like that. And I'm like all worried about like where my girlfriend's at. So I see, like where the light is and I just swim towards the light. Because I'm like, all right, where the light is, that's got to be up. So I swim up to the surface. I go looking for my girlfriend. I get her and I'm like, you good? Because she had a life preserver on. She's like, yeah, I'm good. And I knew she didn't know how to swim. So it was a concern for me. Then her cousin who had taken us on this trip, she had been taking swimming lessons, right? And I'm thinking, okay, she should be okay. So when I look around, she's nowhere to be seen. And none of her friends are there, right? So there's like 4 other chicks. None of them are at the surface. And I'm like, all right, people are drowning. So I go back under the water and I see, my girl's cousin. And I see that she's sinking, So I swim down, I grab her up, and she starts fighting me, because when people, they're getting ready to drown or they're drowning, it's very common for them to try and fight you off and, grab you and stuff like that. So she starts doing that. She starts trying to grab me and stuff. I grab her by the neck and I yoked her, right? Like I just squeezed the life out of her. And then she kind of went limp and I was able to swim to the surface. I pull her to the top. When I get her to the top of the surface, I'm kind of like trying to revive her or whatever. And then I start to see the other girls like popping up. They're all popping up out of the water and stuff, which was a relief to me because I'm like, all right, I don't even know how I would go save all these other chicks. And at that point, the dude on the boat, him and his crew, they've backed up more or less to where we are. They're all cheese smiling and all happy and stuff. And I'm looking at this dude like, what are you doing? And we're pulling the girls up into the boat. Mind you, like, we're soaked, right? My hat is soaked, my feet are soaked, everything's soaked. And so we get on the boat and I'm looking at old boy and I'm like, I'd like to just drill this dude, you know what I mean? But he's the captain of the boat, so I can't do that and hope to get back to the shore, you know what I mean? They just throw me back in the water kind of thing, because it was like 4 of them. So I'm like, all right, man, you learned your lesson. Never do this again. And they take us back to the shore. Everybody was okay, but before this happened, probably like a week or so, I had this dream and there was this dude passing me a wet hat. And I didn't understand what that meant. I was like, what the heck is this dream about? Some guy passing me a wet hat. And sure enough, when I was on the boat, after all this had happened, the captain of the boat was passing me my hat, like my Yankee cap, and it was soaking wet, and he's passing it to me. So all that to say that sometimes danger is unavoidable. Sometimes you just got to depend on your creator to keep you alive.